All right, ready to dive in. Today, it's Meta.
Meta, huh?
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, the whole shebang. But we're going deeper than just like posting selfies and arguing with your uncle in the comments.
Ah, so the real story behind the social media giant, huh?
Exactly.
Mm.
We're talking about a company that went from a dorm room to, well, pretty much ruling the digital world. And they didn't do it quietly. We'll be digging into the privacy scandals, the wild ventures like AI, and get this, even nuclear energy.
Nuclear energy. Now that's a twist I wasn't expecting.
Right. It's a crazy mix of innovation, controversy, and let's not forget, a ton of money.
So where do we even begin with a story this big?
Let's start with the obvious. Remember when Facebook suddenly became Meta? Like, poof, new name, new logo, the whole deal.
Oh yeah, I remember. Seemed like they were trying to reinvent themselves, shed that social media skin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was like they were saying, hey, we're not just about connecting friends and family anymore. We're building the future, and that future is the metaverse.
Right, the metaverse, that virtual world everyone's talking about. Ambitious, to say the least.
Oh, absolutely. But it also felt like a distraction, like maybe they were trying to shift the focus away from all the heat they were getting about privacy,
Can't blame them for trying.
especially with the family of apps they've got now.
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Messenger, all under the Meta umbrella. That's billions of users, billions of data points. Makes you wonder what they're doing with all that information.
You're hitting on the core issue here, righty. Their business model is built on targeted advertising. They give us these platforms for free, but in exchange, they collect a treasure trove of data about us. And, well, that's where the controversy starts.
Like with that whole Cambridge Analytica thing, right?
Yeah.
That was a bombshell.
Absolutely. It revealed just how vulnerable our data can be on these platforms, how it can be exploited. And let's be real, deleting Facebook doesn't really solve the problem. Meta still holds data from Instagram, WhatsApp, and Messenger.
It's like trying to escape a giant web.
It makes you question, right? Is the convenience and connection worth the potential privacy risks?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
But here's the kicker, right? You'd think all this controversy would hurt their bottom line, but their stock price, it's been skyrocketing.
Investors seem to be betting on their future.
Like they believe that despite all the drama, Meta is going to play a major role in shaping the future of tech.
And you know what? Looking at their projects, it's hard to disagree. They're pouring billions into the metaverse, developing cutting-edge AI with their Llama project. And then there's the nuclear energy thing.
Wait, back up a second. Nuclear energy, what's that about?
Yeah, to power their data centers. Think about it. The metaverse, millions of people interacting in virtual worlds. That's going to require a crazy amount of energy.
So they're thinking long-term, thinking about a future where our virtual lives demand as much power as our physical ones.
Precisely. It's a high-risk, high-reward strategy. But that seems to be Meta's motto. Go big or go home.
So let's break it all down, starting with the foundation, their bread and butter. Targeted advertising. What exactly is that?
It's the engine that drives their business.
Yeah.
They collect tons of data about what we do online, what we like, what we share, what we click on.
So like they know everything about us.
Pretty much. And they use that data to create detailed profiles of us so they can show us ads that are tailored to our interests.
And it works, right? I mean, think about the last time you saw an ad for something you were literally just talking about.
It's almost spooky how accurate it can be. And that's why it's so effective and so profitable.
But also kind of creepy, right?
Oh yeah, definitely raises some ethical eyebrows. It's that classic dilemma, convenience versus control.
Speaking of control, let's get back to the Cambridge Analytica scandal.
Right. So in a nutshell, this company, Cambridge Analytica, got unauthorized access to data from millions of Facebook users.
And they used it to target people with political ads during the 2016 election. It was huge.
It really shook people up, made them realize that their data isn't always as safe as they think it is.
And it put Meta under a lot of pressure to change how they handle user data.
They've made some changes, but some say it's not enough. The debate over data privacy is far from over.
It's a tightrope walk for them, that's for sure. Trying to balance their ad revenue with user trust.
Absolutely.
So we've got the advertising behemoth on one side, the privacy controversy on the other, but then you've got these mind-blowing innovations like their AI project, Llama. What's that all about?
Llama is a large language model, a very sophisticated AI that can basically understand and generate human-like text. It's behind a lot of the cool stuff we're seeing with AI these days.
Like what kind of stuff?
Think chatbots, those things that pop up on websites to answer your questions, or those tools that can summarize a long article for you. Even those autocomplete suggestions when you're typing are powered by AI like this.
Wow, so it's already all around us.
Exactly. And here's what's interesting about Meta's approach. They're investing heavily in open source AI, which means they're making the code freely available to researchers and developers.
Wait, why would they do that? Aren't they giving away their secret sauce?
It's a strategic move. They believe that by encouraging collaboration, they can accelerate the development of AI, which could ultimately benefit them in the long run.
So they're playing the long game here.
Definitely. It's a bold move.
All right, so we've got advertising, controversy, AI, and then there's the metaverse. What exactly is Meta's vision for this thing?
Well, they're imagining it as a persistent, immersive digital world where we can interact with each other, play games, attend events, even work.
So, like, we'd be living our lives in a virtual world.
That's the idea. Imagine attending a virtual concert with friends from all over the world, or visiting a virtual museum, or even just hanging out with your family in a virtual living room when you can't be together in person.
Sounds futuristic, but is it actually realistic?
That's the big question. Some people think it's the next big thing, others think it's just hype. But Meta is betting big on it.
And that brings us back to the nuclear energy thing, right?
Yeah.
They're going to need a ton of power to make all this happen.
Yeah, the energy demands of the metaverse are going to be huge. And Meta wants to be prepared.
It's definitely a bold move, but it's also pretty controversial. People are understandably worried about the risks of nuclear power.
Absolutely. It's a delicate issue. But it shows how seriously Meta is taking this metaverse thing.
So they're all in.
All in.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground here. We've got the good, the bad, and the futuristic.
And this is just the beginning. So before the break, we were talking about the metaverse, but will people actually want to live and work and play in these virtual worlds?
I don't know. I mean, I've messed around with those VR headsets, and it's cool for like a little while, but I can't imagine spending hours in there.
Yeah, I get that. A lot of people feel that way. But Meta's betting that the technology will get a lot better,
Yeah.
More comfortable, more immersive.
They're talking about things like haptic suits, where you can actually feel stuff in the virtual world,
Yeah.
and brain-computer interfaces so you can control your avatar just by thinking.
That sounds crazy.
Like straight out of sci-fi.
But hey, maybe that is the future.
I guess we'll see.
And it's not just about games and entertainment either. They're thinking about education, healthcare, even remote work.
Really?
Yeah, imagine attending a lecture in VR where you can interact with the professor and other students, or having a doctor's appointment where they examine you through a holographic avatar.
Huh. That's actually pretty cool. Could open up a lot of possibilities.
Right. And for businesses, think about virtual meetings in a realistic 3D environment, or shopping experiences where you can try on clothes or test drive a car without leaving your house.
So they're really trying to make this metaverse thing happen, but isn't building it going to be like a massive undertaking?
Yeah, it's going to be huge. They're going to need an insane amount of computing power.
Which brings us back to the nuclear energy thing.
Right. Their data centers already use a ton of energy, and the metaverse is just going to multiply that.
So nuclear power is their solution.
They're looking into it, at least. It's a way to meet those energy demands in a sustainable way, they say.
But it's a risky move. A lot of people are really nervous about nuclear power.
I mean, yeah, there are definitely risks. Accidents, waste disposal, all that.
So are they actually going to do it?
They're still in the early stages, talking to experts, figuring out if it's even feasible and safe, of course.
It's a big gamble.
For sure. But if they pull it off, it would be a game changer.
It's almost like they're trying to rebrand themselves as a clean energy company alongside all the social media and metaverse stuff.
It's a smart move, PR-wise, especially with all the younger generations being so focused on climate change.
Yeah, it could help them improve their image after all the criticism they've gotten.
Exactly. Show that they're serious about sustainability.
But some people are saying it's just a PR stunt,
Yeah.
Like they should focus on fixing their problems with data privacy and all that before they go branching out into other industries.
That's a fair point. They definitely need to walk the walk, not just talk the talk.
It's a tough balancing act.
It is. They're trying to be seen as innovators while also dealing with all the baggage from their past.
And let's not forget, they're not the only ones in this game.
Oh, right, the competition.
Yeah, Microsoft, Google, Apple, they're all vying for a piece of the tech pie. Microsoft is pushing hard with VR and AR. Google's got all their AI stuff.
And Apple's rumored to be working on their own mixed reality headset.
So it's a crowded field.
It is. And it's only going to get more intense.
Like a tech showdown.
And in this showdown, Meta's definitely a major player. They've got the resources, the user base, the ambition,
But they've also got a lot of baggage.
which makes it all the more interesting, right? Will
Okay.
they be able to achieve their goals, or will they get tripped up by all the controversy?
It's a cliffhanger. We'll have to wait and see.
Exactly.
But amidst all the drama and uncertainty, one thing's for sure.
Hmm.
They're making a ton of money.
Yeah, their financials are crazy.
Over $134 billion in revenue last year.
And over $15 billion in profit.
It's insane.
And they're reaching more people than ever. Over 3 billion daily active users across all their platforms.
That's like almost half the world's population.
It's mind-boggling.
They've clearly tapped into something powerful.
Our need to connect, to share, to part of something bigger.
And they've figured out how to make a lot of money from it.
But it comes at a cost, right? The data privacy concerns, the potential negative impacts of social media.
It's a trade-off. And it's a debate that's not going away anytime soon.
Definitely not.
Well, we've covered a lot today, from social media to the metaverse, from AI to nuclear energy.
It's been a wild ride.
And we're not done yet. So we're back. And honestly, my head's still spinning a little.
It's a lot to take in, right?
Yeah, we've gone from social media dominance to this metaverse dream, from AI that writes like a human to like nuclear-powered data centers. Like Meta's playing this high-stakes game on every level.
And what's really interesting to me is how Meta is like a mini version of the whole tech industry. You know, all these companies are struggling with the same stuff. How do you keep innovating, but also like be ethical? How do you deal with all the rules and regulations that are constantly changing? How do you even guess what the next big thing is going to be?
It's like they're this giant experiment and we're all part of it, whether we like it or not.
Right. And they're kind of forcing us to ask these tough questions about like our relationship with technology. How much power do we want these companies to have? What are we willing to give up for convenience?
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
It is. And then you add in the metaverse and it gets even crazier. I mean, if this thing actually takes off, it could change, well, everything. How we work, how we play, how we connect with each other, even like what we think of as reality.
Okay, now I'm getting freaked out.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So let's like bring it back down to earth for a second. What does all this mean for us, the regular people, using these apps every day?
I think the most important thing is awareness. Pay attention to what data you're sharing. Understand how those algorithms are working behind the scenes to shape what you see online. And like stay informed about these new technologies. The metaverse, AI, all that.
It's easy to get caught up in the shiny new stuff. But we got to be critical too, ask those tough questions.
Exactly. Like, what are the downsides? What are we giving up?
And don't be afraid to speak up, right? If you're not happy with how these companies are doing things, let them know. Demand more transparency, more accountability.
Right. We have a voice. We should use it.
You know, I keep thinking about that open source AI thing with Llama. Some people are saying it's brilliant, that it's going to make AI accessible to everyone. But others are worried, like, what if it gets into the wrong hands?
It's tricky. On the one hand, you want to encourage innovation, collaboration. But on the other hand, yeah, there are risks.
So it's like, who should be in control of this stuff? A few big companies. Or should it be more open, more democratic?
That's the million-dollar question. And honestly, I don't know the answer, but I do think it's something we need to figure out sooner rather than later.
Because AI is here to stay, right?
It is. It's already changing the world.
Well, I think it's safe to say this deep dive into Meta has given us a lot to think about.
It has.
They're pushing boundaries, blurring lines between reality and virtuality, and making us confront some really big questions about the role of technology in our lives.
It's a powerful story, and it's still unfolding.
They're facing pressure from regulators, from the public. They're dealing with ethical dilemmas, and they're making these huge bets on a future that nobody really knows.
It's fascinating and a little bit scary.
But one thing's for sure, Meta's not going away anytime soon.
Definitely not.
So we'll keep an eye on them, and we'll keep you informed.
Sounds good.
That's it for our deep dive into Meta. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.